I used to wonder how my teammates were faster than me back when I started in 2004, 2005, 60 mini. I mean, it didn't happen very often. Just kidding. It did happen sometimes. And when it did, I used to be furious. I used to be very moody. I used to be like, how's that possible? Call it arrogance, call it however you want. I was really like, I was very motivated to win, and I couldn't stand anybody else being faster than me, especially in the team. It probably as a racing driver, like if somebody's faster than you in the team, that hurts you because you know that you have equal material. And that's why in Formula One it's so fierce, the war about between the teammates. It's like you can see even on Drive to Survive, there's all these conflicts between teammates because obviously everyone wants to prove they're faster. So going back, I don't want to digress. Let's go back to my story. So when I was trying to get faster and I was like, okay, how is he faster than me? I was like, okay, I need to find a way. Back in 2004, 2005, we didn't have proper data. I mean, somebody probably used it, but I didn't. I mean, I was 6, and nobody from the team really introduced me to that, unfortunately. Here's the thing. Here I was trying to find lap time. So what I would do, the first thing you would do is you would basically try to go behind the driver. So let's say if it was a teammate, you're trying to go behind your teammate and you're trying to be okay, he's probably doing this different. Okay, let's try that. Okay, there's lap time. Okay, he's doing this different line. Oh, actually, there's more grip there. Oh, okay, he's braking actually 1 meter earlier than me, but he gets such a good exit. Oh, let's try that. Now he seems to be picking up the throttle a bit earlier, and that's why he gets a better exit. Oh, or maybe it's the engine. Oh, no. Let's try to get on the gas earlier. Ah, it was actually me. So all these sort of things, and maybe then you'll find some place where you catch massively. But the good thing is that probably he doesn't know it because you are behind him. So one quick way to find lap time back in the days was just go behind drivers and the faster drivers, so you could try to see where they were faster. Maybe they were faster only in one corner, but that corner was enough for you to make the extra step of 1-2 tenths that you needed maybe to win the race or to like set pole position. Maybe your teammate was half a second slower than you, but you knew that in that specific corner he was faster because maybe your mechanics told you, maybe your father told you, maybe somebody told you, or maybe your teammate told you, oh, I'm faster in that corner, I'm catching you. It's like, all right, wait a second, I will let him pass and just like catching him up. So I used to do that also with my brother, by the way, with Leo, because we have 2 years of difference, and we used to race together a bunch of times for a few years. I think 1 year in mini, 1 year in junior. And we did some races in shifters together, KZ2, which was super fun, by the way. I need to tell you this story. So I was racing with my brother. It was like Winter Cup, the first race of the season. We were both racing in cars, and I think I was in F3. I think he was in F4. Can't remember very well. I can't even remember the year. Possibly it was 2017 or 16 or 18. I don't remember any one of those years. And we were racing on the same team. And I remember we were in Lonato. And I realized I figured out a way to make the chicane fast, like really fast. Because now it's common practice to use the curbs on the exit of the chicane in Lonato. To use all of the curb, with KZ, you would use the whole curb. But back then, it used to be done only by mini and juniors and seniors, but not by KZs. Because you scrap the floor under the chassis. You hit the seat, so you lose a little bit. But by the fact that you carry so much more speed to use more track made a massive difference. It would be 1.5 tenths on the data, almost 2 tenths, and it was not a common practice. Not so many people was doing it. So I was like, all right, at least what I remember, like nobody I saw on the track was doing it. So, but I could see, I tried a bunch of times and I found out it was quicker, but I stopped doing it because I didn't want to give anybody else the opportunity to learn from it. It was really very strategic. I remember it was one of my most strategic moments, ever. And my brother discovered that at the same time as me. And I was like, well, it came up after one session to me, oh, Ale, basically, do you know the chicane? Because, and by the way, yes, he used to brag so much because he was like 1 tenth faster, 1.5 tenths faster every single session leading up to the quali. But he was doing the chicane like that. He was using the whole curve there, and I saw the data. He was 2 tenths faster there every time, but I knew it. Like, I knew I could do it. And so he was bragging, oh, Alessio, you should do that. You should do that. You're 2 tenths off. You're 2 tenths off. And I was like I was like, no, you're actually making more distance. I was trying to prove him. I was trying to convince him otherwise, even though it was really hard to lie because we were data in front of us. So it's like, no, you see, you won't be able to do it when the grip comes, stuff like that. And so I was trying to steer him against doing that so that I could then have the advantage, because like this we would have been like 0-0, like we would have been even, but I wanted to have an advantage. Now I had a disadvantage because I wasn't doing it, but I was conscious that I could do it. I was just keeping it in the pocket, like you say. and he was doing it. So I was like, all right. Then the quality, and so I was like keeping my anger inside, but I was like very calm. I was like, I knew I could do it easily. So then quali came, and but I was pissed with him because I didn't want anybody else to do it because we were very fast in practice. I was like, you shouldn't do it because if you believe it's fast, why would you do it now so everybody would see it and then everybody would do it? So it was not very, he didn't really think it strategically as I did. So unfortunately, when we went in quali, then he got P1 for his session. And then I got P1 for my session. So we got both P1 in quali. So we were like 3 groups and we were like 100 plus drivers, like 110 in case of 2 Winter Cup Lonato. And I think I was 2 tenths faster than the guy in P2 in my group. It was 2.5 tenths faster, and he was 1 tenth faster. And he's fast, but he was on a quicker session, so he was like a couple of thousands faster than me overall. So he was P1 overall, I was P2, but that was great overall. I mean, the result. But then he saw in the data that I did it faster than him, the chicane. So it's like, oh, you knew it, but you didn't want to tell me. It was like, yeah, this was just a story to tell. Like, my whole point being is that you can really learn so much from the data. It's unreal. And sometimes you can even use that to advantage. Like if you really find something out and you have like a lot of teammates or like fast teammates, and you know that if you don't win, probably your teammate is going to win, you may do something like that. All right, I'm going to keep it in the pocket and I'm going to hide it so that it doesn't do it, and then I can do it just when one counts, being quali, being the final. So it's very rare. I mean, in this level, nowadays 2025 being so high level, it's really rare to have an edge in a corner like that you don't know. I mean, if you go into a new circuit and nobody knows and you know it, or you just find something different, then you can have. But if you're driving in Lonato, Franciacorta, Sarno, those kind of tracks, it's very unlikely you'll find something that nobody has already found. So I'm telling you, it was back then. I think it was one of the first years that was the chicane because I don't know, that the runoff was wider than usual or whatever. So it was something unusual, and but yeah, it was very pleasant to have that situation. But I just wanted to tell you an example of how you can use this how you can use data to your advantage. So going back to the point, you can really use data to compare against your teammates, and you can find lap time even when you seem to be lost. You know, when you're 2 or 3 tenths off. To me, that's huge, by the way. It's like, for me, this probably when I was young, thankfully I'm still young. I'm 26, but when I was proper, like when I was a teenager, and I was in karting, my last years of karting before I joined Formula. My biggest problem in life was how I can cut lap time. Like, how can I reduce delta time? How can I be the fastest? You know, how can I, these kind of things. For me, 2 tenths were, those 2 tenths were a much bigger problem to me than like global warming or like wars around the globe or whatever. It's like, to me, those 2 tenths were like the biggest problem I had right now in my whole life. So fixing those 2 tenths, where everything, my obsession was towards that. And I'm not saying that should be the case also for you, because everyone has different ambitions. But if you want to be the greatest at what you're doing, if you want to be the best and trying to win a world championship, like thankfully I was able to achieve in 2013 the KFJ World Championship. If you want to try to be the best, you need to really use data as much as you can. Use data analysis, video analysis. Absolutely. To me, it's the ultimate cheat code. Data, if you master data, you have so many information, so many insights that probably few people are using. That's probably really the ultimate cheat code that almost nobody, I mean, obviously, nowadays, data is being used by every team, by every driver, right? Let's be honest. I mean, we're not back in 2005 when nobody was using it. Now everybody's using it. Obviously, it's clear the advantage and everybody's using it. But some people is using it a little bit. Some people is using it a lot. So it's like, there's different ways to use it. You can use it more than the others and better, because it's not just about spending more time. It's also understanding, higher quality insights, higher quality feedback. So spending more time understanding exactly the lines, exactly the calibration, exactly your braking points, exactly your, even like using throttle and brake sensor or sting sensors, that can be really useful. Typically nobody uses them, but you can use them, and depends. Not all the teams are doing, but we're introducing this year. We already did the last few races of last year with few drivers with some brake and pedal sensors. That was very useful. They give us lots of insights. And I'm looking forward to continue with that because I think it's going to give you so much data. Anyways, but just to go back to it, you should really use data to your advantage, and nothing is quite like using data and video analysis. The problem of video analysis, though, even though it's amazing, the problem of video analysis is you don't know exactly where the others are braking. You can always guess, but you never know exactly the intensity of the brake. You never know exactly the exact meter throughout the lap. Being at 47 meter across the track, he brakes. At 45 meter across the track, you brake. Well, so I'm 2 meters earlier. Well, that's not good. I mean, it depends. If you then get a much better exit that compensates for the early braking, then yeah. But I mean, if you brake early and you don't compensate that on the exit, well, I don't think that's that's a good trade-off you would want to do. So having this from the data is much more helpful than just looking at the video alone. So most coaches are focusing on video analysis. That is good for understanding the racing lines, but once the racing lines are pretty much spot on, which I mean it's not very easy or automatic to be spot on with those racing lines, but when that happens, you then want to be exactly perfect also with the throttle pickup point, with the braking point, etc. I don't want to make it too long, but really, so while you can try to learn from other drivers by following them on the track, like we used to do back in the days, I mean, you still do it, by the way, now. Huh? I mean, obviously, when somebody's faster than you, want to get in the slipstream, but you also want to stay behind him, not only for the slipstream, but you also want to stay behind him because you want to guess where he's braking, the racing line. So it's the fastest way to learn. If you see that your lap times are coming down, it's not just the slipstream. The slipstream in juniors or seniors could be 1/10, 2/10, maximum. If you see you're coming down half a second on your lap times, then it means you're driving completely different. You're like braking later, just trying to match the same racing lines the guys in front are doing. So it's very, very important to understand that. And you can still do it these days, as I said. You can still do it now, but if you match it with video and if you match it with data, all these three things combined will tell you exactly where you're losing. Unfortunately, we won't have the data of the fastest drivers, which is obviously a pity, but it's also an advantage because imagine if everybody had your data. Imagine that. Like, by the way, you can, in Formula 4, in Italian F4, I think you get the fast lap data from the series. So you can basically compare against, or the video or the data, I can't remember, maybe both, or maybe just the video, but I'm pretty sure you can see the video. So yeah, there it's quite upsetting. Everybody's copying from me. I mean, why would I go fast if everybody can then copy from me? So, so that's the problem is like, you can't always compare yourself against the fastest because, as I said, it's rare that you will always have the fastest and the team be the fastest overall, But if you're in a great team, if you have great teammates, that's obviously as an ego thing, so me, myself, Alessio Lorandi, if I am in a team with really fast drivers, I mean, as an ego, if I'm not mature, I would be like, back when I was not very mature, I was like, but then if they beat me, they're better than me, and like, I would look slow. And obviously, as an ego, to compare yourself against somebody faster, it's really hurtful. But if you are clever and mature, it's very, very valuable because that data from those very fast drivers can help you to get faster yourself as well. So if you're in a strong team, that's also one more important thing. Why it's key to be in a strong team. So you can know exactly what the faster drivers are doing by looking at the data. You can basically follow the same direction, especially if they're experienced more than you. Like if it's their third year in juniors, let's say it's their last few races before they, and they're very experienced, and it's your first year in junior. I mean, you want to learn from the fastest, most experienced drivers. It's going to be more difficult to match them with their speed, but at least all right. I'm in a good team, and I have good references. I have the good data to compare myself against, so I can learn faster. These things are key, and you don't have to underestimate it. So make sure you're trying to compare yourself. And trying to be mature enough to compare yourself, and don't be like, oh, it's always the engine, oh, it's always the chassis. Data doesn't lie. Sometimes you're thinking that it's the engine. You'll be like, oh, it's for sure the engine. They're gapping on the straight, but then you don't realize that you're getting on the throttle a bit too late, or that you are getting wrong the corner that sets you up for the straight, or that maybe because your driving is wrong, you're like you're making the carburation too lean because you're getting on the throttle too early. You're not letting the engine, pick up fuel before it gets on the power. So you're basically leaning it out too much, and then that's probably, yeah, you see on the straight that the engine is going slower, but then you have to adjust your carburation, or but it's still coming from your inputs, so something that you are doing. So maybe you can either change your inputs or you change the carburation, so something like that. But yeah, it's very, very key to use data, because otherwise you will never know. Because sometimes you really may think that the speed, the engine is the problem, but then you look on the data, compare your teammate, and you actually see that that's not the problem. You actually maybe have more speed than your teammate, and you're like, oh, this is embarrassing. I thought it was the engine, but actually my engine is even better than my teammate. So everything is in the corner, and then I look like an idiot now. So, obviously be aware when you give feedback. Yeah. So like when you're like, oh, it must be the engine. Like unfortunately, 70% of the kids would be like giving the wrong feedback. And I mean, talking about the little kids, like 60 mini kids, and they will always think there's something is wrong, but then they maybe don't realize there is something else going on, and that can be the chassis. Maybe it can be the grip level from tires, or something wrong with their something else, but it's not maybe related to the engine. Maybe it's really related to the go-kart, like chassis wise. But lots of times it's due to the driving. So you need to be humble enough to accept criticism. You need to get detect your ego, all right? Like I did, even though it's still hard to do this. Like it's so hard to admit, oh, I'm not the best that day. You need to admit that nobody can be perfect every single day. Nobody can be perfect every single day. So even if you consider yourself a strong driver and you're confident about yourself, which you should do, ideally, you always need to have an open mindset and be like, okay, there's always something to learn. Maybe today I'm not doing best job. Maybe I didn't wake up properly. Maybe I'm a little bit tired. Maybe there's something going wrong with me. But whatever it is, I need to get better. I need to find a way to find lap time. So just take the ego aside and try to actually focus on improving yourself, being humble, and not like me when I was a kid. I was like, oh no, I'm the best. Must be something in the engine. Must be something in the carburetor. Must be something in the whatever. So don't be that kid. Try to be mature. Try to be humble, and try to, okay, I can't be perfect every day. I'll try to, but I won't be perfect every day. Let's actually see how I can learn and how I can be faster in a specific track condition. Or maybe it's in a new track, or maybe you're amazing in a track, always fast. Let's say Franciacorta is your favorite track, but maybe you're driving always with Vega, and then you're coming next race, you're racing with the Maxes, as in the junior case, or maybe you're racing with MGs for minis, or maybe you're driving with Lacons for the KZ. So you're driving with different tires. You have to change a bit the driving. You have to change maybe a bit the chassis, and so that's why you have to use data for all these sorts of things, and you need to be mature enough to accept criticism. But really, it's going to help you massively. If you follow this step, you will improve massively and go in a upward trajectory in your career for sure.